Hi, at UNSW Canberra, we're interested in making sure you don't just survive in your online studies, but actually really thrive and get the most out of the learning experience. So today in this video, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about the academic expectations of studying at university. The University of New South Wales, Australia aspires to develop students who are leaders, professionals, and above all, global citizens. But of course, today I'm going to talk to you about what we want to develop in students as a scholar. At UNSW Canberra, we believe that scholars are people who understand their discipline, but within an interdisciplinary context. They're people who are capable of independent and collaborative inquiry. They're rigorous in their ability to analyse, critique, and reflect on what they've learned and read. They are able to apply their knowledge and their skills to problem solving, not only within academia, but also within the workplace. They're ethical practitioners and they're capable of effective communication. We're also really keen to make sure that they're information literate and digitally literate, which means using a variety of different kinds of technologies in the course of their learning. But of course, we can't do this alone because learning is something that comes from within. So in order to maximise your learning opportunities, we need to make sure that you are engaging in the learning process, that you are able to manage your time and effort as you study with UNSW Canberra. And of course, we really want to make sure that you're developing your interpersonal connections between your peers and with your lecturers. So what do we mean by engaging in the learning process? Well, firstly, it's really important to make sure that you've understood the course requirements. Now, the best place to start for that is, of course, your course outlines. At the beginning of each semester, you need to read your course outlines really carefully. You can find them on the UNSW Student Gateway. Your course outline not only describes the nature of your course, but it also sets out the course materials, the teaching schedule, what your assessment tasks are, and when they're due. It should also indicate which referencing convention that you're required to adhere to in all of your written assessment pieces. Knowing these things is really helpful for establishing your study calendar up front and making sure that you're aware of what's coming up. Studying online or intensive mode really relies on good time management skills, so this is a vital thing to do. So reading your course outline will help you work out what you need to read, and perhaps also identify some materials from the library that might help you to broaden your understanding of the course content. As a new postgraduate coursework student, it may have been some time since you last studied, or you may be studying this subject area for the first time. So it's a good idea to get to know what types of assessment you'll need to produce during your course. Some of the more common types of written assessment include essays, research papers, critical reviews, lab reports, and analyses. Each of these types of writing have their own structure, audience, and writing style. If you aren't familiar with any of these assessment types, or perhaps there's one that you're not so familiar with, it's a good idea to locate some examples or get some advice from your lecturer or one of the academic language and learning staff. Engaging in the learning process also means asking questions and applying your skills and knowledge whenever and wherever possible. As Voltaire, the French philosopher, once said, "Judge a man by his questions rather than his answers." At university, you should never be afraid to ask questions. It not only helps you to fill in the gaps of your own knowledge, it also helps you, and potentially also other students, to make sense of the information. So go ahead and ask that question you have. I'm sure that at least one other person in your class will also want to know the answer. Then, as you learn new skills and knowledge, test them out. How does what you are learning relate to your work or perhaps your social life? How do others within your environment interpret what it is that you are learning? Learning requires more than simply showing up to class. You need to prepare for and engage in both synchronous and asynchronous tasks. If you've prepared for your tutorial, lecture, lab session, discussion forum, or tweet, then you'll get a lot more out of them. Not only will you understand the topic better, but you might be better positioned to get questions answered, or you might elicit more information about the topics and enjoy the learning process a lot more. Okay, so have you downloaded your course outlines yet? What are your requirements? What assessment tasks do you have? And when are they due? Have you put them on your calendar yet? What referencing convention do you need to use? Are you familiar with it? Do you need some help? Managing your time and effort is really important, particularly if you're a distance education or intensive student. You often have a lot of other things in your life that you're balancing. You may still be working full-time. So establishing your calendar is a really good first step. It helps you to track your studies and makes sure that you have enough time to dedicate to each assessment item. I like to give myself about 2 weeks prior to every assessment item to make sure that I've had the time to read, process, reflect on, structure, think about what it is that I want to put into my assessment item. You'll know how long you need, because everyone's a little bit different. But make sure that you factor that into your calendar. This is particularly important as your studies progress, because assignments often come from different courses at roughly the same time, particularly at the end of the semester. Don't forget to include all of those sporting activities and social events that you'll be involved in your calendar as well. That way you can make sure that you're prepared for your studies and for the assessment tasks. And you can relax and enjoy those events as they come up without having to stress about, some assignment that's due. Many of you are likely to be working as well as studying, so planning these free time areas, I know it sounds a bit strange to be planning free time, but it is actually one way of making sure that you get that free time. And in a really busy life, this is important. Seeking out and evaluating the information sources is also a really important part of being at university. What you may not know is that the Academy Library can offer distance and intensive students just as many resources and services as they offer to the on-campus students. So it's really worthwhile checking out what they can do for you, as this will help you navigate your way through the information that you will need for your studies and for your assessment tasks. If you don't know where to start, ask them a question. In fact, there are lots of people that you can go to if you have a question. The university has a range of technical, administrative and academic support services available, so really you're never alone. All you have to do is pick up your phone or send an email. Technology, after all, is a great means of bringing people together. As a distance or intensive mode student, you have the choice of either working through the course primarily on your own or studying perhaps on or offline in groups. Whatever your study preference is, communicating regularly with your lecturer is the bare minimum. Your lecturers will have indicated in the course outline when and how you can contact them. Contributing in online discussions is another way of showing your lecturers that you are on track and working through the material. Most students, however, thrive when they have additional support. The support of their fellow students, somebody to share ideas with, maybe even the support of their family or friends. It's always helpful to have one or two what I call critical friends. These are people who you can go to bounce your ideas off, who will provide you with really good, honest feedback as to what their opinion is and what their knowledge or experience is relating to the subject that you're talking about. They're really useful for discussing the course content and perhaps even reading through an assignment and giving you feedback on it before you have to submit it. So I encourage you to set up those support networks early on in the semester. It's worthwhile to seek out perhaps students in your course who live in your area. You may find one or two other people who you can get together over a coffee to talk about the course. You can also set up Skype sessions and talk to people online. And be active in whatever media your lecturer has chosen to use in your course. So it might also be worthwhile touching bases with one of the Academic Language and Learning Unit staff members on a regular basis. But once again, whether it's in person or via a range of technologies such as Skype or telephone or email, all of these people can provide you with advice on how to study, how to manage your time. They can give you feedback on how you're writing. They can help you structure your writing. and they might even be able to give you some tips on your presentation skills. But of course, if you have any questions about what academic expectations there are of you, particularly in the courses that you've chosen, the best people to go to are your lecturers. They can answer any questions that you have. So that's all for now, and I wish you all the best and lots of success in your future studies.